Hey there, and welcome to DollMotion, the channel where we make new characters out of old unwanted dolls for a stop-motion animated series. In this video, we're going to make Roald and Fable Foxx, the parents to Vulpini, Alex and Felicia Foxx. Roald is also the 9-year-old brother to James. And as a little extra, let's also make a baby version of Alex. Roald is a red fox, named after Roald Dahl, the English author who wrote the book Mr. Fantastic Fox. Fable, Roald's wife, is a fennec fox or desert fox, and named after a type of story where animals can talk, a fable. So let's begin and make Roald, Fable and baby Alex Fox. If you saw the fennec fox and red fox figurines in my previous repaint video, then you found the hints. Good luck finding the hint for the next repaint video. For this project, I'm going to use all of these dolls. A baby Lika doll, this used Jackson Jekyll head, a reboot Draculaura head, and these Obitsu bodies. A male Obitsu body I used before, and a Obitsu 24 cm S bust. To give Fable a smaller posture because, well, she's a fennec fox after all. And Felicia inherits her height. I do love the pink and black hair, but I have different hair colors in mind. So we're going to cut off the doll's hair as close to the head as possible. This pink hair looks pretty good, so I'm going to save it. Jackson's head has to be removed from his body so we can use it. We do this by filling a mug with hot water. This will soften the vinyl and makes it easy to remove the head from the neck pack. And the body I can use for another project. The head will go with us, to be transformed into Roald. To remove the remaining hairs, I use tweezers and go through the neck opening. You will probably find a greasy mess inside. And to grow my doll ear collection, I will be purging all of their ears. To finish the prepping stage, we only need to wipe off the factory painted faces with pure acetone. And now for some body mods. Roald is 57 and Fable 55. This means this couple are fully grown animal characters with digigraded bent legs. To translate this into the dolls, we're going to cut off the legs with my Dremel. We already made a few red fox characters on the channel, so you know their arms and legs have a gradient to black. To make the hands and feet joints black, we're going to dye them with red dye more. After the dye, we're going to give the hands a full set of claws with epoxy sculpt. Some paint and a golden wedding ring. Fable's hands will stay a natural color, but will also get a ring. We seal in the paint with a matte varnish. Great! Let's reconstruct the legs. For this, we're going to use sticks, tape and glue. To protect the joints from the glue, I like to fill the holes partly with foam. First, some super glue to keep it in place. And now for the heavy duty glue, a 2-part epoxy glue. You'll be needing an even amount to mix it together. And then you need to work fast because it will dry in 5 minutes. To fill the rest of the gap, I use epoxy sculpt. And now that we are working with epoxy, let's also work on some fox ears. Roald will have average fox ears, but Fable's ears will be slightly bigger, a famous trait of a fennec fox. Wait one day for the epoxy to get fully dry and hard. Now we can use the Dremel to sand down the epoxy on the legs to get a smoother transition. It takes a few types of sandpaper and a sanding block for a neat result. This is probably not necessary, but I like to give the connections a small layer of super glue, just to be sure. Okay, gradient time. We begin with black acrylic paint and many layers of pan pastel and Mississippi clear. I used about 6 layers to get a good gradient. Fable's arms and legs aren't getting any gradients, but her legs will get a color correction. I use matte varnish to seal in the paint. Back to the ears. Now that they are dry, we can trace them and take them off. Now we can give them some fur. And let's also make some tails. To make some doll fur, we use acrylic yarn and a giant fly swatter. Bind them to the fly swatter and comb out the yarn. Glue the yarn to a plastic bag, wait one day, and now you can peel it off the bag. To make a fennec fox tail, we start with a black tip, following with a light brown fur. The red fox tail begins with a white tip, continuing with orange fur. When they are finished, fluff them up with a comb. Fable's and baby Alex's ears and tail are a bit different. They will be flocked. I take a big hank of yarn and cut it in teeny tiny pieces. Paint the ears a matching color, light brown for Fable and orange for Roald and Alex. Glue some fabric glue and dab on the flock. Roald ears will also use fabric glue, but will get loose yarn wefts instead of flock. The 1-year-old baby Alex will also get a flock treatment. The same for his tail. Great! Returning to the hats. We're first going to paint the hats with a matching hair color, for a fuller look in the end. A layer of tacky glue will prevent the paint from chipping off. Draw on a hairline guide, and now we can start the reroute. I take a needle cut on an angle, slide the hair over it, and push it into the hat. It takes me a full day to reroute one hat. I start with the outline. I fill in the middle, then the ear line, and I finish with the middle hair part. To secure the hairs from the inside, I use a universal glue and a Q-tip. To control the hair, we give the hair a boil wash, which makes elastics jump. After a day of air drying, and a small cut, we can style Fable's hair. Just like with all my other older Divus characters I made this year, this couple will get in fashion for my decade. I think the 70s will be the best choice for them. So a 70s hairstyle for Fable and a second boil wash. Roald's hairstyle will be simple and only needs a haircut. And now for some animal features. For this I'll be cutting off their noses and placing them lower on the face to form a snout. Roald's face features will be similar to James's features. But for Fable's animal features I was fully inspired by the Fennec fox. Some sanding, and I'm going to unpin some curls to give me some hand space. Now we can color match the faces with their body tone. Fable needs to be less pinkish. And Roald, well, he comes pretty close. But we need to cover up that mark and the nose. Speaking of the nose, we can also paint in the nozzle and the black noses before we seal them in with a few layers of matte varnish. Wait for the varnish to get fully dry and cover up the hair with some scratch fabric and pins. I give it a layer of Mississippi clear and now we can begin with the face up. Well, enjoy the face up process in the background because we're going to answer a few of your questions. Are there any fish, marine animal characters in the Divus world? Although I'm way more inspired by mammals, any type of animal can be a character in the Divus universe. What is your favorite part of your series so far? I really like it that people enjoy this series and want to see new episodes. And I really like it where this series is going, now the Does are returning. Upcoming episodes will be very exciting, with some great cliffhangers. What are the legends with humans about? Can you tell us one? Oh yeah, I kind of pointed out on Instagram, humans are somewhat like mythical creatures in the Divus universe. Kinda like unicorns or dragons. I imagine that people on the Divus universe have many types of media about humans, like comics and movies, or they even have a human con or event. It's kinda like the furry fandom but reverse. And it kinda clears up the human cameos in the beginning of the series. As in, that were probably cosplayers. Will you do another series after the Divus series? Are you going to use the same characters, or are you going to start fresh with new characters? Well, first of all, the Divus series will take another 3 years to finish. It will have 50 episodes in total. But yeah, I've thought about a spin-off series with Jackalope Jack, and the Divus series that takes place 10 years into the future, where some of the characters have kids of their own. But before I'm going to start something new, I really want to finish this series. So ask me again in 3 years. Well, thank you for your questions and let's return to the repaint. Fable and Alex came out great, but Roald? Yeah, I don't know. This is a man who is a loving father and a gentle person, but also someone who has an aura of wisdom. And someone even James respects. Yeah, this face-up didn't give me any of those vibes. So I need to start over. This will push the repaint back with a few days, but it has to be done. Yeah, this is much better. To seal on the face-ups, I sprayed the dolls' faces with a few layers of Mississippi Clear. The hairpins can finally be removed from Fable's hair. This gives me space to glue back the fox ears with super glue. And we can also make a hole with a lino cutter to glue in the fox tails. Now that the ears and tails are drying, let's pick an outfit. Like I mentioned, this couple will have a 70s inspired style. I already knew a year ago I would be making these characters. So I started collecting vintage doll clothes from thrift stores and flea markets. This will give Roald and Fable a great wardrobe for the series. But some outfits need an alternation for a better fit. And we also need some pants. I do have a bag with pants for Ken. And with some small alternations, we have a great fit for a male Obitsu body. We're also going to make 2 pieces of doll clothes ourselves. A male and female shirt. This will make their wardrobe complete. You know what Roald needs? Facial hair. And a lot of it. You may have noticed he's somewhat of a silver fox. And I always imagined him as a character with a silver grey beard. But first the eyebrows and sideburns. The beard is kinda tricky, and this is actually my first time trying to make a beard. Facial hair is really rough in real life, so his nylon reroot hair will be perfect. Yarn would be easier to glue, but doesn't look that realistic. So we're just going to build layer on top of layer. When the fabric glue is dry, comb out the loose hairs and give it a big trim. Some blushing and we have a doll beard. Baby Alex is also getting a patch of hair to cover up the mark of his human ears. At first I want to skip this part, but it's kinda tradition in the Fox family. So Roald is going to get a gradient in his hair with orange ink. Some hairstyling. And then high gloss varnish on their lips and noses. And our little Fox family is done. Wow, the Foxx family really keeps on expanding. And if you would like to follow the story of the Foxx parents, you should really watch the Divus Series. Here you can see how Roald is going to stop his younger brother from evil actions, and how Fable is going to embarrass her daughter with motherly love. A link is at the end of this video and in the description box. Also, if you can't wait and you want to watch more RePaint videos, I have early access RePaint videos available on Patreon and YouTube memberships. I just added a new one named Moosvolk, which shows the making of the characters Lloyd, Kai and Deus Sano Alches. A link is at the end of this video or in the description box. Before I go, I would like to thank my lovely patron of honor, Keina Maru, and everyone else on Patreon and YouTube memberships. These people really make this channel and the Divus series possible. So thank you, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next RePaint video. Bye!